This is the Daily Strike with your host, David Sheminsky. I'm here with Kyle from Custom Woodworks. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well, man. Thank you for joining us today. Episode 5.
Dang.
Get it. Drops mic.
It's awesome.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, here to talk about you, man. Get to know you a little bit.
Sweet.
I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
First time
I don't really
you.
know who I am either, but
we're going to dig deep and find out.
We will get there.
Awesome, man. So we did talk earlier. I got to talk to you a little bit, ask you some questions. So let's start out with you. Who are you? Who is Kyle?
Well, I'm Kyle. I'm a 26-year-old guy, live in Lombard. Try to do what makes me happy. I'm a carpenter. I enjoy it. I love it.
That's it?
That's it.
Simple and
That's
sweet.
what I got.
Awesome. Now, what made you really get into the carpenter profession? I mean, that's like a really particular profession because, I mean, when I was young, my stepdad growing up, he owned his own construction company and he did everything. I mean, you name it. Mm-hmm. And I fucking hated it. I hated every minute of it. I mean, it was just, I was not interested in anything handy. So, like, what made you jump into that?
It was totally random, actually. I was doing landscaping for a family friend. That's a lot of labor intensive, really exhausting. Not my favorite job, but really appreciative for getting it.
Definitely.
Getting the start. Met a painter on the job site, Chuck McGee Exteriors, good guy. Started working with him. He was like, hey, you want to start painting? You want to start learning something? So I was like, yeah, sure. I can get into that. Started doing some handyman work, started doing some painting, did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You figure out what you like, what you don't like. And I personally just really liked working with my hands, coming from school and trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, going into sales, going into, whatever society wants you to get into. It was not my thing. School was not my thing. So I love just working with my hands and trying to figure out what I actually did like to do.
You also mentioned too that you came from like a classic family where they wanted you to go to college and they wanted you to go there to find your career and stuff like that.
Yeah, not in any negative type of way.
Right.
It's just very supportive family, want the best for you, and the easy way to do it is graduate from high school, go to college, get a degree, figure out what you want to do. Work a 9 to 5. It's a very safe life.
Very true. Very true. You weren't trying to be safe at all. You're trying to step outside the box.
I like to live dangerously.
Definitely. I definitely understand that 100%. I mean, in high school and like middle school, I can relate to. I wasn't really big into school. Even though I played a lot of sports and like to play sports, you have to get good grades. I had like the C average, right? C's get degrees, but
right, good to go.
But I just wasn't a big fan of school, man. The stuff they were teaching me, and I was just learning a lot of different stuff and doing a lot of different things. I was like, yeah, I don't like school, but here I am now at 22 years old and I'm in college and I kind of like school, but at the time I hated it because I didn't have that supportive family background. They're like, go to college, do this, do that, do that, do this. You know what I mean? But and then the whole idea of debt too. I don't like the idea of that, but
can't stand it. Yeah. I went to community college and tried to pay that off as soon as possible. Cause I just wanted to have it under my belt, College of DuPage. Have it. I'll probably never use it, but just buys you some time to figure out what you actually want to do.
You said College of DuPage. Mm-hmm. That's actually where I go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice. It's a nice school.
It's a great school,
but it's expensive
for community college. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! Bookstore. I was buying books and like books you can find on Amazon for X amount of dollars, right?
But they won't let you. You have to buy the one with the code
because of financial aid and
$600.
Dude, crazy! Like books. $600. Like I took a finance class and I never will do that again.
Yeah.
The book was like $400 in the book. Like the paper book itself was $100, but the ID code or whatever, $300.
It's always the ID code, and then half the time you don't even use it. That's the worst part.
Oh my God, man! It's such a waste of money. I'm in the wrong business. What am I doing? Right. I need to get in the college textbook game.
Seriously.
They're making money.
Let's get it.
It's scary. Awesome. So you didn't like school. Mm-hmm. When did you start your own business? When did you jump into that route?
Yeah, so after working with that handyman, I probably worked for one or two other guys after that. And the trades are one of those things where it's hard to find someone my own age doing it. Whenever I'm going to look for jobs, whenever I'm trying to find something to do, for the most part in construction, it's all a bunch of old guys. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, okay, maybe I'm in the right in the right direction here, you know, especially if, you know, these old guys are going to retire. It's a young guy's game coming up. So like, let's start learning things. So yeah, just worked for a couple guys, tried to figure out as much knowledge as possible, get as much experience as possible, because, you know, also in construction, they're pretty much known as, you know, like dirty contractors, or like there's not really a good rap for construction workers. And I forgot where I was going with that.
Try to break the cycle, I'm assuming?
Yeah, pretty much. And so I was like, well, when I want to do my own thing, I'm going to be a transparent contractor. I'm going to be communicative, because a lot of people, you know, it's just a whole bunch of miscommunication with contractors. Like, okay, I'm going to do your kitchen. It's going to take you, you know, 4 to 6 weeks. But when that happens and things come up, they don't say, oh, this is going to take you this much longer. And then people are upset. There's no communication. So I'm just trying to figure out, you know, I'm watching the guys that I'm working for, trying to figure out the good and the bad, you know, trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I do my own thing.
Do you feel like you've learned a lot from watching the other guys? Like things that you liked and things you didn't like?
Definitely. And if you want to go do your own thing, the first thing I would recommend is find someone that knows what they're doing. Follow them, study everything they do, find out how they do things, why they do things, and you'll find out pretty quickly what you want to do and how you want to do it, whether they're doing things the right way or the wrong way.
Definitely. I can relate to you 1,000%, because I mean, I worked for I'm not gonna say a lot of bad bosses, but definitely a lot of people I didn't think that were doing a good job. And
they're out there.
And rather than say, because you can't, I mean, you can speak up, but sometimes it's better just to keep shut and observe and take notes. And that's what I did. Right. I just took notes and observed, and man, it's definitely made me a better person and a better, you know, in business as well. Because you just know it's all about having the right morals and just different perspectives, realizing that, you know, they're a human being too.
Right.
And I'm a human being.
Right. You can't even judge. You just have to figure out how you would apply that to what you would do and how you can do things better.
Yeah. Very, very
So even
true.
the bad bosses, you can always take something from it and apply it in a better way.
100%. So you work for a couple guys. You started your own business.
Yep.
You said you were in construction for about 5 years, right?
Yes.
And then you jumped into the woodworking industry.
Yes.
For about, it's been 2 years, or?
Yeah, pretty much 2 years since I started, you know, like my first table.
Definitely. And
so
what made you like want to just build, because you build custom furniture.
Yes.
Not just like you make a bunch of one thing and hopefully it sells. Like, no, you make furniture that customers are very particular about, and you know, it's one thing can go wrong, a centimeter off, it could be a ruined project.
They're out there. Yeah.
Do you like that kind of stress? Does that keep you like going? I mean, because to me, that's because I work in an industry that deals with customer service constantly, 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And man, some of these people and their needs, and it's stressful. So do you thrive off that? Like, do you like that side of the business?
It's a yes and a no. I love the challenge, and I always want to do something that's going to push me in a way that, you know, if I've never done it before, I'm going to always want to keep doing something that I haven't done, a new challenge, a new way to accomplish something, or, you know, just taking on an order where your first response is, I have no idea how I'm going to do that. And then just say yes and figure out how to do it, because that's how you really grow. Very
true. Very true. Put yourself in situations where you're not so comfortable.
Right.
And you learn and adapt to it.
Definitely.
Has there ever been an instance where, you know, you received an order of a particular piece of furniture and you're like, shit, what am I going to do? Like,
yeah.
Because you can't, I mean, like, I'm sure you can tell people no, but I mean, that's not always the best thing to do, and business is business. So
right.
Have you had an order like that where you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah, almost every single order that I've gotten. Yeah, because when I first started, I was 100% self-taught. So, I mean, back to the beginning, I ended up buying a piece of wood on Craigslist, just some crazy piece of walnut. It was like $20. I'm like, okay, that looks really cool. You know, let's figure it out.
You can buy pieces of wood like that on Craigslist?
I actually just bought a log on Craigslist from New York like 2 weeks ago.
And they shipped it to you and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Your local neighborhood wood selling.
I highly endorse Craigslist for anything. Be safe, but I've only had great experiences, made some great friends.
Yeah, true. I think all the bad experiences on Craigslist are because people just
You're not smart about it.
They're not plugging it in their head like, okay, this isn't sketchy, or, you know.
Right.
I'm just going to meet this guy in the alley and get an iPhone. Like, no,
yeah, you always have to be apprehensive.
Yeah,
but
meet in a public place and whatnot.
Yeah.
You also mentioned, too, that you guys are all green. You guys are environmentally sustainable.
Definitely.
That's your huge push.
Definitely.
How do you go about that in the wood industry or in the custom woodworking industry?
So it's actually pretty easy nowadays. It is becoming pretty trendy, the whole reclaimed wood thing going on. So whether that's like barn wood or pallet wood, you know, obviously you have to be careful with all that too. But yeah, the trend helps, and I enjoy the trend just because it is pushing, you know, using materials that wouldn't have gotten used otherwise.
Interesting.
So it starts with where you get the wood. For the most part, if I don't mill it with a friend in Downers Grove, he's got a huge chainsaw mill. You know, we'll take these logs that get cut down, you know, different towns. Tree services will just ask like, hey, can we take that log? And they'll gladly give it to us because they don't have to store it. They don't have to do anything with it. We can take it off their hands, and, you know, we get free wood.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have to shred it or anything like that, or
right. Yeah, it'll get turned into
down.
mulch, or it'll get turned into pallets. You know, it's useful, but not all of it goes in that direction. A lot of it will go sit in a landfill.
Just be wasted.
Yeah, you think, why would a log go to a landfill? Well, it just gets wasted and decomposes, and it's useless.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Is there a piece that you like absolutely like admired making? I mean, like, is there like that one piece you're like, that is my best piece?
Yeah, it was actually one that I made pretty recently. So what I tend to do with my tables, a lot of people like the river tables.
Tables. What is a river table?
The river table. So, you know, you start off with your regular table, just like a big slab, live edge slab. And what I'll do is I'll carve in with a router, just hand done. I'll draw out like a template of a river, and I'll cut that in different depths, and I can pour in tinted epoxy resin, and it'll make it look like it's a river going through your table.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
It's a huge hit with people if they live on a river, if they have a vacation house on a lake, and they're like, oh, can you please make this? We live right here. So it's perfect for custom furniture because you can pick the size and pick the lake, and it's just a memento at that point.
Definitely. And I'm sure people love it because it gives them that home feel.
Definitely.
That's what we all miss, right? That home cooked meal, that home feel.
Nothing like it.
Phone call. We'll just keep going. No worries.
No worries at all.
Just block it out. Still live?
Yep.
Awesome. Sorry for that interruption. Awesome, man. So we're kind of jump back into the environment and going green.
Yeah.
What's your big push behind that? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's like something deep down that really hits you, that hits home. I mean, like, what's the push behind it for you?
Definitely. I'm just a big environmental kind of guy. I've always loved going out, hiking, camping, anything in the environment. Big fan of it. And obviously there's a whole lot of pollution going on.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of non-sustainable activities going on. And that kind of feeds me wanting to be more sustainable in a way where my footprint is little to nothing.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Thinking of the future.
Definitely. And that's the way we need to start thinking. I mean,
definitely.
Between, you know, plastic in our water, I mean, there's even things called microplastics in our water. Like, that's crazy.
It is crazy. And the microplastics are just the microbeads left behind from plastic once it disintegrates, essentially. So it'll never really go away. You don't see a plastic water bottle as a plastic water bottle. It just turns into a bead. Yeah. And that's there pretty much forever.
I actually saw a video on Facebook the other day. Guy left his water bottle in his car, like a lot of us do, and he came to get it the next morning. And, you know, when there's that extra water bottle in your car and it's nice and cold, you're like, oh my God, thank God this is here. There's so much microplastic because it's been sitting and deteriorating in that spot.
Yeah,
I never
especially
thought
if it
about
sits
it like
in the
that.
sun.
Oh my God.
Terrible for you.
I've drank so many water bottles like that,
right.
Not even realizing it. And
right.
It's just like, damn, my body probably hates me because of that.
It's brutal. Yeah, a lot of people just those random facts, like that's gonna get you one day.
Yeah,
you know?
No, very true. It's the little things you don't realize that'll catch up to you.
Drinking plastic water bottles.
Literally, I mean, I don't think they've been sitting. Oh, maybe they have. I don't know, but
maybe you better recycle it.
Yeah, we'll recycle it. Now let's go kind of into the nature part. I mean, you know, as far as to like the plastics and water and the pollution in our oceans. I mean, you got animals that are dying, you know, sea life. You got turtles with plastic in their nose. And I mean,
I think a lot of people have seen that video where you pull the straw out of the turtle's nose and
oh my God,
they don't know any better.
Dude, it literally makes me so sad. It makes me think of like Finding Nemo, but like a more realistic version of it, you know? It's just sad. It's sad. Like,
I mean, you can go to any beach pretty much anywhere on the ocean and find plastic anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you can go anywhere around here or anywhere and just find pollution everywhere. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, you couldn't take 2 steps and throw it in the trash or whatever. Or
right. And even the problem with that is these recycling companies recycle as much as they can. But, you know, even like for certain products, if you have the cap on and you recycle it, or if the label is on, it might not get recycled. And what happens with that is it goes in with the garbage, and just goes into the landfill, and then, you know, you have these big tankers taking garbage across the ocean. Half of it gets dumped. You never know what actually happens, you know?
I never thought
so
about
it's not even like these people aren't recycling. It's half of them don't get recycled at the recycling plants. So it's almost like you think you're doing something good,
but really are you?
But at the same time, it might not be going where it's supposed to be going, where you think it should be going.
That's really misleading.
Extremely.
You put them in a recycling bin in hopes that it's going to get recycled, and then, you know, 30% of it recycled is just still not being recycled.
Right. But it's not common knowledge. It's not like, you know, you have to really read up, like, do I have to take the label off a plastic water bottle?
They don't teach you this in school.
Nobody does.
They don't.
Because it's not a big push for it.
Yeah. Know? I mean, middle school, they were still teaching sex ed, but I don't think they teach that anymore.
Oh, I don't even know.
I'm serious. I don't think they teach that. And I did read something online though. They're making a push to teach more finance classes, like basic credit, basic finance and stuff. Because I didn't have that.
I had none of that.
None of it. Yeah. Even gym was like poor. Like gym was not gym. It was just like, here's some basketballs and here's this, and just
have fun
for an hour. You know what I mean? And like, just craziness, man. It's just craziness. And I just look back and I'm like, wow. Like, I'm happy I had like that sex ed class at a young age, because that's the age where like you really start to think like, you know, what is this? What is that? You know, I want to do this, but you don't know why. You know, why I'm having these thoughts. But kids these days are just going rampant, like doing whatever they want. I don't know, man.
Now what?
I have no idea. So, what do you think are some solutions people could take to really, you know, go green to the fullest? Or, I mean, even take a small, step in that direction.
Yeah, it all takes small steps.
I mean, because I'm not going to sit here and say I'm high in pride and I do this and that, because I don't. We don't have a recycling bin, so we don't have that option. You know, I could probably drive a mile down the road and put it in a recycling bin, but like, we don't do that. You know, so I'm going to sit here and preach it, but just curious, because I mean, there's been reports that like, if we don't change our direction right now, we're screwed. Like, we're all screwed. You know what I mean? If we don't stop, you know, throwing litter in the oceans and killing the reefs and stuff like that, like, that stuff's crazy.
Right. And that's all things you don't think about either.
No,
you know, that's
not
just
at all.
The sunscreen with a certain ingredient that makes it so much cheaper to make. So it's all about money.
Well, you said sunscreen?
Yeah.
There's a chemical in sunscreen.
That's what's killing like the reef in Australia there.
What?
Yeah, Great Barrier Reef.
Oh my! I don't use sunscreen.
Yeah, it's like a specific ingredient in a certain type of sunscreen.
That is terrible.
I'm not familiar with what it is, but
you know what I never thought about too is like, you know how you see like a bunch of boats out on like the water, and like you put gas in your boat.
Oh yeah.
Is that bad? Like, I'm assuming that's bad for.
Once you start to think about it, it's not good.
I can't imagine it. I can't imagine you're just shooting gas into the water. That's all you're doing. It's
interesting. I actually just read something about cruise ships, and the amount of the emissions from a cruise ship is similar to almost like a full city for almost per day or something like that.
What?
It's wild. I don't take what I'm saying literally, because I'm not right in that sense, but it's something to look up. It's insane.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. Like, you think, I just want to go on this cruise ship. I want to go swimming, and yeah, definitely
think twice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying like don't do anything, don't have fun, don't live your life, but just be aware that what you're doing is having a consequence.
I think a good way to put it is there's always a bigger picture behind things. You know what I mean? Like, I looked at my phone the other day, look at the weather, and it said like mild air conditions or something like that. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I've never seen that before. Like, you're telling me if I go outside, it's gonna be harmful for me? Like, am
to a certain extent.
Is it harmful now? Like, I don't know. I just didn't know that happens over here. I don't know. I've never seen that before, so I was kind of
right. Usually with
confused.
warmer temperatures, but
yeah, I mean, it was like 40 out that day.
Yeah,
going from like negatives to 40. But
right.
So we're gonna kind of jump into, actually, this kind of has something to do with it as well too. I mean, what do you think like a goal should be for humanity going forward?
I mean, just starting with the little steps. Like what you're saying, you don't have a recycling bin at where you're living. Go and take that extra step and actually find somewhere where you can drop it off. Or, I mean, I'm not one to say either. I'm definitely not perfect, but it's just the little things like not taking a plastic bag when you're going grocery shopping or bringing your own bag. It's just the little things that I think will make a big difference. And a lot of people doing those little things will make a huge difference.
I think restaurants taking a stand on plastic straws is kind of cool too. I think it's really cool. But see, people like the outsiders, we're not caught up yet. So like people will still go into restaurants and be like, where's my straw? Like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Like, we don't have straws, dude.
Right.
Like, think about the turtles.
All about the turtles.
that's like a statement. It hasn't happened to me, but I mean, like, where my girlfriend works, they don't have straws, and people get like pissed off about it. They're like, where's my straw? Like, dude.
And that gets a little sensitive too, because I mean, if you think about senior citizens or other people that might need a straw,
yeah, they do keep straws.
It gets tricky because you can't really get rid of straws entirely. It's not like a war on straws. It's plastic. Because
true.
There are alternatives to plastic. There are like corn byproduct that can be a plastic, but it's biodegradable.
They have dissolvable straws too. That's
yeah. There are a lot of companies out there, but plastic is interesting because it's almost like the big oil companies. It's big plastic.
Or the tobacco industries too. Like same thing. Like you can do whatever you want and say, don't you see all these tobacco commercials like, don't smoke or do this and that, but they're still making all that money. Right. People are still smoking.
Right. Exactly.
People are still going to use plastic.
Right.
But I think the issue is people are just really ignorant to the fact of the bigger picture. There's always a bigger picture, and then, either you just ignore it and just stay ignorant to the fact that it's really an issue, or you attack the issue.
Right. And a lot of people just don't know that basic, like, plastic, that will never go away.
Yeah.
Once it's made, that will never, ever go away in a certain form.
It's like swallowing gum. It's there for like, what, 4 years?
Oh, don't tell me that.
Something like that.
I swallow my gum all the time since like first grade, and everyone's like, oh, you're going to die. Your stomach's going to be clogged up. I'm still alive. So
yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're fine. Screw what they said.
I'm here.
I've never had really had huge issues swallowing gum, but I always thought it was kind of funny. Like, swallow a bunch of gum and die. Or like you swallow like watermelon seeds, the watermelon's going to grow in your stomach.
Dang, I remember that.
Yeah.
Swallowed a lot of those.
Young kid life. I definitely did a lot of that. Now, I'm just going to kind of jump into some different type of style questions, okay? So,
sure.
What is one thing you'd want to teach, like a concept or something you'd want to teach people today that, could leave them with value?
Definitely, I would say kindness, just little acts of kindness. I think if everyone really paid attention to, thinking about others instead of themselves, I think that would be a huge little step that they could take.
Yeah, kindness definitely plays a huge part. I mean, it could be as little as opening a door for somebody. It could be as little as helping someone walk somewhere. I mean, simple hello, how are you?
Definitely, yeah, like thinking about what you're doing as things are happening. Like, if you're driving and it's a snowstorm, I'm very quick to get angry at someone driving, 10 miles per hour below the speed limit. But just taking that extra second and thinking, oh, well, you don't know if, they just had eye surgery. You don't know if it's a senior citizen or if it's someone that doesn't want to drive but needs to drive. Just taking that extra step of consideration, because you don't know what someone's going through.
That is very true. I'm that guy too. Like, I don't want to drive. I hate driving, but I have to do it. So I drive, not like a grandma, but, I drive. I just very cautious. But I've been in a couple of accidents, man, and like, I just try to be very cautious. That's all. It's not. I hate going through it, the insurance process and stuff like that, and dealing with other people. I don't think anybody
likes going through that.
No, man, not at all. So I drive very carefully. So, but the one thing oh my God, the one thing I hate seeing is like, you pull up to a red light and you can turn on red, but the person in front of you has a sticker on their back of their van that says, "I don't turn on red." Sometimes the worst people. I'm like, oh my God, come on. There's like nobody coming.
I'm totally that guy, but only at the red light cameras, because I don't trust that.
Yeah, no.
I will never trust it.
I've gotten a ticket here probably like my first 3 months living here in Illinois, I got a ticket, and I was so confused.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the hell did they get me?
Right.
Where did they come from?
Then you got the picture of yourself, like you're sitting there picking your nose, but like, making the turn, and blowing the light.
Smirk on my face like, I'm going to turn here.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Man.
Got him.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, are you into art at all? Like, not necessarily like drawing or painting, but like music or like things like that. Like, are you into that type of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I've been a drummer for pretty much my whole life. So I've been in and out of bands. Yeah, other than that, it's, you know, with the woodworking, it tends to be a little more on the artistic side. And I never would consider myself an artist, but a lot of people say like, "Oh, I love your art," and I'm like, "What are you? It is art, though. Talking about?"
I mean,
right.
dude, you are shaping an idea that someone had,
right,
yourself in your own vision.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that. That's incredible. That is incredible. Now, do you feel like it benefits society, like art in general?
Definitely.
Because I saw this question, it made me really think, and it makes me look at different perspectives. Because when you think of art, I think of music, I think of what you're doing, I think of like Van Gogh, I think of a kid just painting at a kitchen table and like drew a picture for his mom. You know what I mean? But I feel the issue is that art can sometimes be used in a negative way. And, you know, I look at music, for example, and like a lot of music that's out today, it's not the most positive thing ever. You know what I mean? You hear it's a lot of negativity and sadness in the music. If you really look up the lyrics to some of these songs, top hits today, dude, these people are depressed. They're not happy.
Right.
They're drowning their sorrows. Like, that stuff's crazy. And like, there's a difference between like telling a story and like being genuinely miserable with your life.
Right.
And I feel like that art that's put out that people interpret could be terrible for people going forward. I mean, like, I don't even listen to radio anymore because there's a lot of just crazy stuff on there, and it's not all bad, but like, I just think a lot of music that's being hyped up is just like, or art in general is just like not what it should be. You know what I mean?
Right. But yeah, I mean, even at the same time, like on the other hand, that could be their expression. Yeah. You know, of trying to figure out, like, a lot of those people too. Well, maybe not a lot of people. So like Ariana Grande, for example, she definitely is more like of an advocate for, you know, mental health. Like, take care of yourself, like, it's extremely important. But then you listen to her music and, you know, it doesn't really add up, you know, the lyrics, things like that. But, you know, it's easy to judge from that outside perspective, but at the same time, maybe that is her outlet. Who knows? Yeah, people like it, I guess. But I feel like people get kind of brainwashed into this stuff too. I mean, yeah. You think about like the drug epidemic that goes on, like the music, they're like, oh, like I pop all these pills and I do all this and that. Like
and
the trap music.
Like that stuff's crazy to me. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, the wrong kids listen to it.
Well, the thing is, though, is these people have these platforms that reach out to millions and millions of people, and I just don't think they're using it effectively. Like,
a lot of harm.
If people give you a voice like that and you have millions of followers that listen to you and buy your music, I feel like you should use that platform. I don't care if you're a musician. I don't care if you're a politician. I don't care whatever it is. Like, use that for like a positive influence, because you can affect people
more than you would think.
Widespread, and like you can make like the next person that comes up with the next best idea, like, you know, like the next Elon Musk, the next you know, whoever, like that. It just dumbfounds me, man. It's crazy. And like,
it's a lot of power.
I didn't think about it until like maybe I was like 21. Because growing up, like, I was just listening to what was hot, or I was just into whatever was cool, but I just didn't realize like there was a bigger picture behind it. You know what I mean? And when I realized that, I was like, wow, it's so clear. Like, but I think it's kind of what they want you to hear. You know what I mean? They want you to hear some of this stuff.
Yeah, the money makers.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna go too deep into that. That's a totally different topic. But all right, man. Now, this is gonna be a good one. So, if humanity was put on trial by an advanced race of aliens, how would you defend humanity? Like, if you were in like an alien courtroom, right? And you were like, you know, it was just you and every person you knew behind you and loved and cared about you behind you, right? And it was up to you to save everybody. What would you say to the alien?
That's a wild question.
What would you say to defend your race? Even after all the terrible stuff they say you guys have done. Like, you guys have done this. This animal's extinct. You know, you guys have killed this, and that, and the third. Right. Why should we spare you?
I mean, other than Brian's good looks.
Look at his beard. Come on.
He's crazy.
Look at his beard.
He's crazy. I can't stop looking at him.
It's a tough question, though.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I would say. Like,
I mean, on a serious note, I would I would only say, you know, like everybody deserves a second chance. You know,
we've had a lot
get
of,
deep on it.
Yeah, but we have had a lot of chances though too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I don't have faith in our race. I do, and I think we do a lot of good, cool stuff that's good for people. So I don't know what I would say. I'm right there with you. I'd be like, you know, just give us another chance. You know, we'll work with you or something. You know,
even from like years ago, 30, 40 years ago, like as far as environmentally, like we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we're
doing pretty good compared to rules and regulations that weren't even around back in the day. So, you know, slowly we are definitely figuring out what's happening and how to move forward from that.
I think we're accepting it. We're like, you know what? Maybe these people weren't so crazy.
Right.
Maybe they knew what they were talking about.
Right.
Reminds me of Day After Tomorrow. You ever seen that movie? Day After Tomorrow? I've seen it like 20 times.
Crazy.
Where the guy goes in there and he's like, listen, like some shit's about to go down. And they're like, no, it's not about to go down. And then it went down and they're like, damn, you were right.
Dennis Quaid, right?
I think so, yeah.
Dennis Quaid. I just watched that the other day.
Literally how it went down. He tried to warn everybody, and they're like, this guy's crazy.
Like, this is coming right now, and they're like, no way.
It's not happening. Yeah. And then next thing you know, New York's flooded. People are dying. Who do they call? Him.
They call Dennis Quaid.
Literally, man. It's so relatable to life. Try to warn people. Try to tell people, listen, like
before it's too late.
I've been through this situation. I've done it. I got fallen. I've gotten hurt. This and that. Don't do it. And they do it anyways. But I feel like sometimes it's best to let people learn the hard way.
A lot of times it is, yeah.
And that's what happened. I mean, I think the point of that movie was trying to like tell us to like change our ways, like change your ways now, because clearly this is what could happen.
Right.
And you saw what it did, even though it was a movie, you know, change your ways.
Definitely.
It was like a smack in the face.
Definitely. It's not like the end of the world coming up, you know, but
no.
It's definitely something to look to.
Oh, yeah.
You know, reducing the carbon footprint. The Earth has, you know, natural extinction cycles, so that, you know, in itself is already warming the Earth, but then what we're doing to it is it's just a crazy catalyst that's just going to keep going. Definitely.
Now, we also, when we talked, you brought up kind of stepping out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah. And
I found that very interesting and relatable because, I mean, this right here was a step out of my comfort zone. Right. I never thought I'd be doing this. I mean, I've talked about it before, but like I went to media school and I thought I liked it going in and I ended up hating it and I avoided it. I was like, screw this. I don't want to do this. And I said that about a lot of things in my life, but I find myself always going back to those things. And I think it's like a sign, I think. But,
yeah, why do you think that is?
You know, the man upstairs is working something, that's for sure. So I'll let him lead the way and I'm just going to keep following, you know?
Awesome.
But I think the comfort zone's pretty cool, man. So like, what about, you know, your comfort zones? I know this is like kind of out of your comfort zone too.
Definitely.
What would you suggest to someone that's trying to do that, trying to, you know, try new things? I mean, what's like the first step? I mean,
right. I mean, don't say no. It's really easy to find a million reasons to say no to doing something, like, oh, let's go do this. Like, oh, I've never done that. You know, this could happen. This could go wrong. Why would I do that? So it's really a cool thing to try to think of, like, why would I say yes? You know, why shouldn't I do that? Why can't I do that? And that's definitely a good step to take.
Interesting. And I agree. I mean, try new things. Say yes.
Right.
Because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right.
And learn.
There's no harm. You learn either way, whether it's a good or bad. And this is a new concept I've been messing around with too. You know. Definitely.
I'm right there with you. Like I said, I kind of like the adrenaline rush too. When you step outside your comfort zone and you try something and you're like, wow, like, you know what? This isn't that bad.
It's not that bad. And it's always going to be worse in your head than what it's actually going to be. I mean, unless something really goes wrong, but
yeah, I think it's part of it's challenging yourself too. Like you kind of said, I think you said it earlier in the interview too, is just challenging yourself to new things. Like
it's important.
That's how you grow as a human being.
Otherwise, you're just gonna stay stagnant.
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna sit there,
figure stuff out.
You're gonna be far behind, and you're not gonna be able to move forward and grow as a person. I think that's really important.
It's a huge,
and kind of be able to coach yourself too. I feel like that's a big thing too. Is like being able to like police yourself and be able to be like, okay, let's stop, take a second, observe this, you know, learn from this.
Right.
And then do you think it's better to go through it with another person too? Like try new things with another person, like a group of people rather than by yourself? It definitely helps.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the person, on what would be best for you. You know, some people, I'm a little more independent. I like doing things on my own if I can jump into it on my own. Obviously, it's awesome having that support behind you. Like my fiance's been pushing me to do everything out of my comfort zone, and that's a new concept for me. And it was hard for me to grasp at first, but the more I'm doing it, I'm just constantly growing, constantly learning. So if you learn better in an environment with, like a group setting, definitely find other people that might be doing what you want to do, or find some, other people that want to do what you want to do.
So like surround yourself with people.
Like-minded people.
Definitely. I've heard that a million times, but it's the truth.
It's so important.
Seriously. Yeah. It is the 100% truth.
Right.
And I feel, but here's the thing too, is like, I feel you with the independent route too. Cause like you could be working with some people and you're just like, no.
Right.
Get out of here.
Right. But you're already in that situation.
Yeah. And some situations are forced, so you have no choice but to deal with these people. And it's just like,
right.
I feel like a good suggestion to anyone listening and reviewing is just like, go independent. You know what I mean? Like, work with them.
At least give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try. Work with them, because if you're in a forced situation, work with them. But then try to kind of push your own agenda at the same time. You know what I mean? Not in a negative way, but...
Well, it helps you find your way instead of, if you're going at it with someone else, you're looking at how they're doing it, and maybe they're forging their own path, and then you're just kind of trailing along. Then you're not really doing it on your own.
Yeah. And comes a point, too, where you get familiar with the feeling of discomfort. Like it becomes normal.
You get used to it.
You get used to it. You're like, this is nothing.
It's a great feeling.
Maybe for a second you're like, I'm used to it. Like, I feel like getting comfortable with that too. Like, once you're comfortable with that, like, everything else just falls into place.
Exactly.
It becomes nothing. And actually, I told a person I work with, a coworker too, I was like, listen, like, the situation isn't awkward unless you make it awkward. Like, seriously, like, plug that into your brain. And I thought it was a joke, but like, I'm serious. Like, anything can happen. Like, dude, my pants could fall down in public. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could trip and fall and, one of those like family at home videos or whatever, and it's on TV. Like, it's only awkward or embarrassing if you make it that way. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't make it that way, and you can
mindset.
You can literally control the situation.
Right.
Within yourself.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's some good ass advice.
It is awesome.
I said that on the spot too, and I was like, I had to stop, and I was like, damn, like, that was some good ass advice. Like, I should write that down. You know? But it's the truth. Like, it really got me thinking. Like, you can literally control just about any situation.
Right.
And you don't have to be feeling uncomfortable. And you come out powerful. You come out feeling way better after that. So
that's awesome.
Awesome, man. Now, couple more things I want to ask you. We're kind of wrap this up because we're running out a little bit of time.
Sure.
You also were talking about, steps in pursuing happiness, like inner happiness. What's your view on that? I mean, sometimes it's kind of hard for people to dig deep and find that inner happiness. And I don't want to say this on air, but I mean, I've done a few things where I've definitely experienced different perspectives and outside of myself, and it kind of helped me figure out what makes me happy.
Right.
But I mean, what's your view on that? I mean,
I definitely think that goes hand in hand with comfort zones. It's so easy to get stuck in the same routine. You have a salary, it's a really comfortable life. So why would you ever do something outside of that, even if you might not be happy? So definitely, I mean, if you have some sort of passion, some sort of hobby that you'd like to pursue, that's key. Get something that makes you happy, do things that make you happy, and try to live a life that's ultimately going to make you happy.
And I think part of that too is, like, to add on to that, is not worrying about what people think about whatever you're doing.
Yeah, that's really hard.
I literally just had this conversation with my sister. She's 12 years old, and she's going through that phase. Like, she's super independent, loves to read, has like a best friend pet bird. Like, she's just like super cool 12-year-old, and I called her and we had a conversation, and she's just like, people at school make fun of me, and like this and that. And like, it's easy for me to say, because like, I never really did care about what people thought. I never did. I didn't care. Like, you could think whatever you want to think. Like, I'm still going to go home to my bed every day and, do what I have to do. But like, for a 12-year-old, that's like the end of the world. You know what I mean?
It's really tough.
I was trying to break into her head. I was like, listen, like, it doesn't matter what these people think. I'm like, all that matters is that you have family at home that cares and loves you. You have friends that care about you, and you have your bird. Like, who cares? And I'm like, you're doing awesome, and the extracurricular things you're doing. Like, who cares what these people think?
And if she's happy, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, at the same time, like, think about it. These people that are making fun of you, they're probably going through something in life where
almost always
they're
some
miserable.
Sort of insecurity.
It's insecurities, and they don't know how to let it out in a positive manner. Or even in an efficient manner, and they put it on people negatively. I'm like, don't let that affect you. I'm like, they're going through their own issues. I'm like, just think about that next time. Put yourself in their shoes. They're probably going through some shit at home.
Could even be jealousy, like, oh, she's happy, like she's doing her own thing. Like, why can't I feel that?
Exactly. And like, growing up when I was young, like, I didn't have like the best come up, you know what I mean? I struggled a little bit, came home, you know, I was raised by a single mom. I was raising my 2 sisters at a young age, you know what I mean? And like, wow. I had that vendetta against some of my friends too. I wasn't like openly like picking on people, but like I had it in my head. I'm like, dude, like these kids are living great lives. Like I wish I had a, you know, a mom and dad like figure in my life, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So maybe that's part of her problem too. Like, I don't know, but like I just had this conversation with her. I was just like, listen, just keep your head up, screw what these people think. Focus on you. That's all that matters. It's all that matters, because these people are like, you're still gonna go home and do what you have to do.
Right.
They're gonna do what they have to do. Don't let them affect you. And I'm like, honestly, smile at them. Like when they make fun of you, smile at them. It's gonna crush them.
It will
every single time. And I'm like, why are they smiling? I'm trying to hurt them.
And
why
hopefully they'll learn from that too. You know,
and they'll stop.
Right.
I'm like, just do that. And that's how the conversation ended. So I'm hoping it left off on a positive note. But I don't know where I was going with that. But I don't
know, but I liked it.
Yeah, it was an intense conversation I had today. But to leave it off, man, do you have anything that you want to leave the viewers with? Like some type of value, like some type of advice you want to leave with people that are watching, that they can take in, digest, and maybe even improve themselves or their situation? Any kind of advice?
I mean, I would just say, tying back into the comfort zones and the happiness, you know, it is really easy to get overwhelmed and intimidated with things that you don't know, things that you've never done. But the outcome of actually trying those things is going to improve your life more than what you would actually think. So it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
No,
and I'm not one to say, because there's a lot of things that I still pass up, but
100%.
It's just constantly trying to better yourself.
100%. I 100% agree. And that's the one thing I like when people are listening, like I really hope you don't think like we're trying to hold ourselves in a high horse, because like we're just like you, like we're learning every single day. We screw up every single day. Like
definitely
life is a learning experience, but
that's huge too.
Yeah.
Just constantly learning.
I think you have to accept that life is hard.
Right.
And it's a learning experience.
Right. And if you don't learn from every situation, whether it's good or bad, that's when you're not actually progressing.
No, you're falling behind, and you're going to probably stay that way because you're going to get stuck in your own habits.
Yeah.
Not that you can't get out of it, but
break them.
You're just making it hard, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I definitely want to thank you, Kyle, for joining us today, man. I appreciate your time. No problem at all, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was episode 5 of The Daily Strike. Have a good night.
See ya.